Hi, I'm Kelly Fumo, and I'm here to answer some questions today for the fans of Aimee Easterling's Alpha Ascendant fantastical werewolf adventure. Um, and I just finished narrating Alpha Ascendant. So this has been a really fun project. So I'm going to answer some of the fans' questions. The first one is and it's from Tamara, something like that. Do you read the book before you start recording, or do you record the first time and then go back and fix what you don't like? Well, I do both. I'll start by reading the book and getting a feel for the characters whom I'm fairly familiar with at this point, but there's always a couple of new characters involved. So I get a feel for the characters, and then from there, after I kind of have a feel, I will go ahead and do the rest of it almost sort of spontaneously or ad lib or whatever you want to call it, like improvisation, because I like that feel of the first time through. It always sort of has a more spontaneous kind of natural vibe going on. So I like that. But then sometimes I get to a passage where I'm not feeling convinced by my own delivery of a line, let's say, so I'll retake it, and sometimes it'll take several times. So I'll take several takes of the same few lines or something, and then in the editing process, I'll go back and choose which one I felt worked best. And even in the editing process, I will sometimes overdub, although I don't necessarily like to do that. It can happen if I'm still not happy with the way the intonation sounds or the emotion or something like that. So yeah, so it's a mixture. Okay, so the next question, it says, it's amazing how the narrators are able to remember the different voices when reading complicated dialogues. What do you do to remember the different intonations, or what do you use? And that's from Helena. Well, Helena, what I do is I have a mental image of each of the different characters involved, and so I'll create an image in my head of each of the different characters, as I just said, and so when I come back to that and the dialogue, and of course the character's built around the description that Aimee has sort of built up in the book, so I'll get that image in my head, and then I can come back and sort of access those characters, and the image that I've created every time the dialogue pops up. So that's how I do that. Now the next question is, how does one get into the field? This is from Tina. Tina, I can't tell you exactly how everybody gets into the field, but I can tell you how I got into the field. Well, first of all, I live in Los Angeles, and like everybody is an actor in Los Angeles, so I do know that most actors in this town will supplement their income. Maybe not most. There's a lot of actors in Los Angeles that will supplement their income by doing ACX voiceovers, book narration. For myself, I just started dabbling with the idea. I got a couple of compliments on my voice, and I thought, yeah, maybe I could be a voiceover artist or something like this. And I took several courses and training and put a CD together to get commercial acting. And then I wasn't as fond of the commercial acting style, and I really liked the idea of doing audiobooks because I loved reading to my kids. I have 2 boys, and so I would read to them on a nightly basis, especially the Harry Potter books. I love those. And I really enjoyed creating the characters to read as I was reading, and keeping that whole thing that the last question was about, was like keeping those characters in my head so I could go back and reference them. And so when ACX popped up, 8 years ago or something, or 10 years ago, it just seemed like a good opportunity for me to actually try, and I just created a profile and started. It's not a difficult thing to do. It's just something that you jump in feet first, maybe, I guess. I don't know. So I just did it on my own whim in a way, but not everybody does it that way. Some people do it part-time, some people do it full-time. For me, it's a bit part-time at the moment, but that could change. The next question is, what don't we know about your job that would surprise us to learn? And this is from Melissa. Well, actually, Melissa, in the last question, I sort of thought about that briefly because one of the things that the actors I've heard through some other people in town that I've spoken with, when they're traveling, they have to travel for their shows. Sometimes they're Broadway actors or, off-Broadway actors, and they're in town doing shows. So they will set up a whole recording gear in their closet in the hotel. And I don't do that because I'm not traveling, but I always thought that was kind of interesting that they were able to actually figure out a way to set up their studio in such a small space and record audiobooks, and they seem to do a good job at it. So good for them. I don't think I could do it, but yeah, I thought that was interesting to know. And then the last one is, as a listener, which audiobook that you didn't create is your favorite? And this is from Aimee. Well, currently, Aimee, my listening is more geared towards sort of self-help or like metaphysical books. So I don't have a specific one probably that I wanted to record, but I think it'd be fun to do one of those just because I would like to think that I'm helping people out by being able to listen to those things. I thought it would be fun to maybe do an Eckhart Tolle book someday, but I think he might do his own. But I like some of that stuff very much because I listen to it, but and I don't listen to a lot of fiction, but I enjoyed being part of Aimee's books so much that I definitely would do it again. I really, really enjoyed it. And as I said earlier, the whole reason I got into this was really because of the Harry Potter series and reading that to my son. So yeah, I really enjoyed this very much. Yeah, so I'm kind of open to anything, really. But so that's everything. If you have any more questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Shoot them my way. All right, take care. Bye.